What's up, everybody? Welcome to the View from Jamestown Podcast edition. This is episode 37. This is the February 2020 edition. I'm sitting down with TCC President Robb Roach, VP of Sales and Marketing Petrarca, and Latin American Operations Manager Javier Fernandez. Morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Happy February.
Happy February.
How we all doing?
Good. After Super Bowl, the Super Bowl halftime show was a hit.
It was a hit.
Amazing.
Amazing. I loved it.
What's not to love about that?
It was a good game, too.
It was a good game.
It was a good game.
Yeah, Texas Tech representing. I went to Texas Tech with Mahomes.
I didn't know that until you said that. Yeah.
I was pretty pleased.
Yeah.
It was fun watching the halftime show with some of my closest Latin American friends. You guys all really enjoyed it. But yeah, February. How's everything going so far? I think January is a pretty good month, pretty busy month, and looking good in February so far. Seems like things been busy, lots to talk about.
Yeah, January was definitely a great rebound from December. December was, really quiet. I think it had to do with the holidays falling on Wednesday. Just a short month in general, and probably a good year to have that time off and, do a little Control-Alt-Delete and restart. Coming in the new year, January picked up real good, and February is looking strong as well.
Control-Alt-Delete. That's the first time I think we've used that one. I like that.
Yeah.
I thought you were a Mac guy.
I am. So I don't have to do that anymore. My computer and my phone actually works. So I got on my father's computer the other day, and it took me twice as long to do whatever I was doing because it was pop up. He's like, your computer has it. I'm like, no, it does not have that, So there's all these crazy people out there that still think Microsoft is a wonderful thing. I despise it.
Yeah, I love Macs.
Yeah, me too. Thank God for something that works.
Yeah. But yeah, stuff's definitely.
Hi, Longo.
That's our IT guy. Yeah, he doesn't like Macs because Macs work and the other ones break, so he makes more money. So,
long story short, we're not getting a Windows sponsorship anytime soon.
No. That's not enough.
no Windows.
Strike that one off the list of people to call.
Microsoft, anything.
Apple, hit us up.
Yeah. Yes.
But back to chemicals.
Oh, yeah.
I think one of the closest things we're still keeping an eye on, which maybe has gone to the back burner a little bit, is the trade and tariff situation. Obviously, the biggest one for the U.S., looking at China. I think the word on the street kind of is that it's going to be in effect as is until probably the election season through November. So I think that kind of gives companies a baseline of how to go forward. Obviously, we saw China cut tariffs in half on stuff coming from the U.S., but it doesn't seem like that's going to be too much of an effect on us as a U.S. company and U.S. imports from China. It seems like it's going to be kind of status quo.
I think it's a good thing, the tariffs on China right now because, it's certainly done good for our stock market, our unemployment. It had to be done, So I'm going to actually say that something positive about Trump. He did do a good job in standing up to the bully that is China. I mean, they manipulate their currencies. They grow capacities of chemicals beyond world needs. It's something that had to be done. I mean, there was already a shakeup in China prior to the tariffs and the quote unquote trade war, in that they were starting to realize that they were polluting the heck out of their country, and people were going to eventually, get very upset about the fact that their living conditions were so poor. We're seeing that in India as well. So these developing countries have major issues with pollution and with carbon dioxide and smog, something that America has already been through. I mean, we're not guilty. We went through that as well. So something that we have to recognize, though, because the world is getting smaller. But back to the trade war with China, it's true. The goods have been dumping into the United States at very low prices for too long. And now we're seeing, because of the walls that we put up, the trade walls, the tariffs, we're seeing it happen in Latin America and especially in Europe, where they are such a bureaucracy. They don't know how to stop this trade flow of cheap goods from China. So, it's been a good thing, and I'm glad somebody finally did stand up to China. But we are dependent on China for many things, and we will continue to be. So, we're going to get to the coronavirus. It's a big concern. It's going to really impact the supply chain, trade flows, et cetera. and it already has started.
And I think the big thing with the China situation up until now is we didn't know what was going to happen. 1 month it's 25%, then it's 10%, then it could go away, and then it's
Right.
back. So I think whether it's 25%, 10%, 0%, whatever it is, now we can kind of plan for that for the year or so. Based on what we're hearing now, obviously that could change tomorrow, but it kind of seems like it's going to be here for a little while. And obviously AJ manages one of our primary products from China that's really only produced in China, so it's kind of a unique situation where it just kind of is what it is.
Yeah, for sure. People just they plan on it now, and I don't think anyone has any expectations of it going away. At least for budgeting purposes, you're still going to plan for the 25% until something changes.
Yep. And I think it's been a month or two since we've done a Latin America update. Venezuela, Mexico, different regions there, with both us bringing stuff up from there and then obviously selling back to Latin America. So what's the latest down there?
Yeah, we do a fairly amount of stuff. We bring stuff from Colombia, from Mexico, from Brazil. To distribute in the U.S., and also we sell back into those markets from mainly European goods, not so much Asian. But because the competition on the Asian market it's a dumping ground in Latin America,
As well as from the Middle East, right?
as well as the Middle East and lately from Russia. They haven't seen more Russian goods in the Latin American market, and it's a small market, so it's very strange to find Russian and Turkish in that area.
Yeah.
But they're coming to the market.
And what do you, in terms of cost differences? I mean, how much cheaper are they paying for?
So, for example, there's a product, phthalic anhydride. It's coming into Brazil 20% less from Russia than the cost of the market is. And there's two producers of that product in that market.
Wow.
So there's an anti-dumping duty case starting there for the Russian material.
Wow.
Yeah.
So in the short term, they're just trying to move material. In the long run, obviously, it could hurt them.
Yeah. So there's a bunch of capacity, unused capacity with the new plants coming in Russia that their raw materials, there's an excess capacity of raw materials that they need to go somewhere.
Yeah.
Because the Russian economy is not that big. Texas is much bigger.
Yeah, just the state of Texas is bigger than...
Just the state of Texas. I mean, when you think Russia, you think it's a much bigger because the land they occupy is 1/6 of the world. But in essence, the livable space is Texas is bigger.
Yeah.
And it's a bigger economy.
It's a crazy comparison.
Yeah.
And I guess what's the outlook for Mexico, for the big regions, for Latin America
Yeah,
for the year?
the outlook, I think, I was reading a couple of articles, and I think the outlook for this decade is they think a 2 to 4% yearly growth for the region, which is low. There's concerns on the fiscal budgets. There's a lot of fiscal spending in many countries, including Brazil, Colombia, Chile, Argentina. Argentina is going through a restructuring of their debt, their third year on their economy shrinking. Brazil is doing a fiscal restructuring as we speak. And then a big problem that we face, many of the countries, is formalization. There is up to 50% of informal jobs. So those people they don't pay taxes, but at the same time, they don't take advantage of the social programs and the social services. So you see there's an imbalance.
Yeah.
So there's a lack of technology too. So things like payments online. So people still go and do lines to pay their bills, things that we don't do in the U.S. You know, things like that.
Yep. But I think along those fronts, I mean, even the U.S. is newer to some of that stuff. I think you see reports like Europe's been doing like the tap to pay and stuff like that for a long time.
Yeah.
So they'll get there. I mean, I think
We'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there. I think we're on the right track. And yeah, business should be good. Hoping to the business should be doing good for this year.
Yeah, that's good to hear.
Yeah.
It's at least a positive outlook versus flat or negative.
Yeah.
So it's, could be worse.
Yeah.
And I think one thing Robb mentioned briefly is the coronavirus situation in China. Something we're keeping a close eye on. I think the world's keeping a close eye on at this point. Something that is going to be real interesting as they come back from holiday next week and see what's available, what's not available.
Yeah, I think back to Javi, short-term business should be really good because there literally is nobody answering the phone. There's nobody responding to emails in China. There's going to be significant delays of departures of goods from China. So even the last couple of weeks, since the coronavirus and news of the coronavirus has really started to get out there, we've already seen quite a bit of panic, about people concerned about the supply chain, especially getting into, 4 to 6 weeks from now, April through May, what's going to happen, because this is a major and it's a continuing saga. I mean, we haven't encapsulated it.
Yep.
SARS was already encapsulated well below the levels where we are now. So, and they're starting to find, cruise ships with people that have it, and, other countries, it's starting to grow. I mean, I think this could be, it is already a global event, and it's just good. But in terms of sticking to chemicals and the chemical industry, it's certainly, you need to check your supply chain for the next few coming months, because even though Sunday is February 9th, that's officially when, their New Year celebration ends. Are people going to return to work? I think that's the major question.
Yep.
Yeah, because in some areas of China, they're extending the holiday longer. So that means the factories are not working, so their orders are backed up. So even if you put the order next week, your order is going to be coming to the back of the line. So your order is going to be processed, manufactured at the end of the month. It's going to be shipped probably middle of March. It's going to get here second half of April.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, just even the immediate impact. You're seeing oil prices go down because people aren't flying in and out of China anymore. I saw a thing the other day. It was like the holiday season last year, just movies, people that paid to go watch movies was $9 billion. It's zero this year.
Wow.
Just in people going to have entertainment. You see not even just the streets of Wuhan, but other major cities empty. Absolutely empty. People.
A so-called picture Shanghai. Nothing.
Literally. How
Nothing.
crazy is that? That'd be like Manhattan going from what Manhattan is as we know it to nothing overnight.
No cars, no people, nothing.
Bizarre.
Yeah.
Bizarre and scary.
And I think we were talking when it first came out. It's like, okay, people have the flu. It's not going to affect shipping. It's not going to affect, business. But obviously that has turned out not to be the case. It's obviously been much more severe, and it is going to, impact business operations.
Yeah, I got a note from one of our producing partners in China, and he said one of the biggest bottlenecks right now is they've set up checkpoints on on the roads, and it's stopping trucks getting from the plants to the port, because they're still they've been up and running through the holiday.
Yep.
But they're already seeing the checkpoints being a big issue as far as logistics go. So I think we're just seeing the tip of the iceberg, and we're not going to know the real problems until they all do come back to work and start their plants up again.
Yep. Yeah, and I'll add dates for context, because I'm sure it'll change by the time the episode comes out. But today's February 7th. As of yesterday, there was 24,000 confirmed cases, 16,000 of those in China, and around 470 deaths linked to, the coronavirus. So I think, again, we're just kind of at the tip of the iceberg, unfortunately, with what we're going to see and how this is going to continue to grow, worldwide.
Yeah, I mean, it's even been a pretty treacherous flu season around here. I mean,
Yep.
All of my kids have gotten sick, and it's been intense. I'm talking, I had 103.7 fever with my 12-year-old, and what did you have with your 6-year-old? Is
My
it?
7-year-old was over 105 at one point, so
And it lasted a long time. So it's just been a horrible year in general, and flus, as well kill. So people have to be on top of their health and cognizant of washing their hands and keeping clean and all that sort of stuff. But we've also had a very warm winter. It hasn't been that that deep. It's almost like when we get really, really cold, it sort of freezes everything. But it's going to be a while, and the warm winter's affecting natural gas prices. It's creating more flus. There's a lot of things with this type of winter, a warmer winter, that many effects that it has.
Well, I was going to say that too. I always attribute the flu season to really cold weather, but that's obviously hasn't been the case. It's been kind of a mild winter, and it's still been a bad.
It's been horrible.
season.
Yeah, it's been tough. So everybody take care out there.
Yeah. I think the one other big news thing that came out either this week or last week is Brexit becoming official. So I think we're obviously still a little bit new to that whole situation, and we're going to see how everything shakes out. But something to keep an eye on, and we'll present some probably unique, personal and business situations with doing business with the UK and in that region.
It's been interesting this week to see the stock market and what react. I mean, it's just, it finally happened. You know what I mean? The impeachment is over. Okay, he didn't get impeached, but it's over. Like all these things are just sort of coming to an end, and there's some positive news out there in terms of the economy and whatnot. Because of it, it's like, all of this stuff has an effect and a psychological effect. Coronavirus has a psychological effect. Brexit had a psychological effect. But in looking at things, no wonder why Britain wants to exit, the EU. It's such a bureaucracy; they just don't get anything done, and something's got to change in that, because they certainly should be reacting as we are to these low cost goods just being dumped into all the EU countries from elsewhere. There has to be a level playing field.
Yeah, it's interesting to see, especially on the sourcing side. We do source some from Europe. We'll see how that affects that whole situation too.
Very slow in Europe right now. There really is, and that I don't know if it's fact or not, but we heard there's some concern about the Rhine River again. Have to look into that and confirm that, but it doesn't make sense. I mean, we're in the time of year where there should be a lot of precipitation, both snow and rain. So, but yeah, the economy over there is very slow. The demand is slow. There's a lot of import product coming in at low prices, and the automotive business is off some 20+%. So it's hard times right now in the EU.
Maybe with the rising sea levels, the Rhine River will.
Yeah, maybe.
I see the logic.
I think it's going the other way though.
So it seems like the long story short from all of this is watch your supply chains, make sure you have security of supply,
Absolutely.
Understand your full supply chain, where everything's coming from up and down, and position yourself the best way you can for what's currently happening.
I think, for me, everything's so low price in terms of raw materials, which is what we're going to get into now. I mean, I don't think it would be a bad idea to bolster inventories a little bit right now in light of all the things that are happening. I mean, they are regional and sometimes, small things that have a large impact. And, so watch your supply chain. And right now, because overall demand has been relatively slow and things other than retail and whatnot, the, inventories are low. So it could be a pretty critical time right now. I do think that this year is going to still be possibly the year of rationalization, just because we've got so much product being produced worldwide, and something's got to happen. So we'll see, though. It's still too early in the year to make any bold predictions.
Yeah, good transition right into price updates and trends, what we're seeing for this month. Seems like most stuff's relatively flat. Obviously, crude oil came down a bunch this month. I think the only outliers is methanol on our side came up a bit this month. But what are you guys seeing for price updates kind of market-wide?
Yeah, same thing. Pretty, I guess flat to flat on most things. I think with crude, crude being down, people will be looking for decreases, but I don't know that that they'll materialize on a lot of the products that we do at this point anyway. Like you said, methanol is the only outlier. We had a big jump on methanol, which will trickle down to the derivatives of methanol, obviously. But yeah, other than that, it's pretty flat to quiet. I mean, everyone's expecting increases on products from China. We'll see what those will be when everyone's back next week, obviously. So stay tuned.
Yeah, it seems like supply has been played more of a role in it. I mean, crude's come down a bunch, but if stuff's oversupplied, price isn't necessarily going to go up or down. It's more who's got what and where it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think we're at the lows on a lot of things. We saw some activity to that point with quote unquote economic force majeure and things like that. So people just can't keep overflowing tanks or keep backing up rail cars for too long. So there will be eventually some rationalization. But you got to keep an eye on your supply chain, because all these regional events that turn into global events like coronavirus certainly have an impact.
Yeah, as we're sitting today compared to this time last month, crude is down about $13 a barrel. Brent crude about $12. Natural gas 30 to 40 cents. propylene rolled, ethylene was down a little bit. So all the major indicators are going down.
Slightly, yeah. Yeah.
We'll
As the NASDAQ and the Dow go up.
Yep. So I think maybe be a month behind. Maybe in March we'll see some more impacts of the crude going down and things like that. We'll see what happens.
Well,
this
they're
month.
talking about OPEC's, they're starting to talk about some cuts and things like that. So, you can see methanol is a good example of how quickly things turn around. That was certainly on the slide for quite some time, but there was some gas supply impacts and some plants that had gone down, and, it very quickly turned around and turned around in a big way.
Javi, you want to discuss our featured product of the month here?
Yeah, our featured product of the month is adipic acid. As everyone knows, we represent Invista. It's AddiPure. It's used to make plasticizer, addipates, UPR resin, polyurethanes. Has many applications. You can have it prompt delivered within a week. We have it in stock, different stocking points. We have it in 22.68 kilo bags, 500 antistatic, and 1,000 kg bags. Hit me up with a text message, and you'll have your product in the border of Mexico or on a ship within a week.
That's perfect. Wow.
Very good. I'm ready to buy some.
Yeah, I want to buy
Sign
it.
me up.
That's one of my favorite products.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's I have a lot. Yeah, it's kind of my baby, I think. Even though I don't manage it, but yeah,
You have to fight Ray.
You manage it for Latin America.
Yeah, I guess. Hi, Ray.
So have you checked on pricing in China for adipic acid recently?
Yeah, it's coming up. It's coming up. It's coming up compared to what it was. It's coming up.
Okay.
It's coming up. It's still kind of a delta.
So the price might not matter if you can't physically get it. The
Yeah.
price.
Yeah, people are answering. Have you tried recently, or?
There's a huge delays on the respondents, and the most expensive product you have is the one that you don't have.
Yep.
That's true.
Very philosophical over there.
Yeah, I'm a new man.
You should put that in your email signature. That's your quote. The most expensive product is the one you don't have.
Can we put that on the graphic? Most, right in the feature of it.
Yeah, we should do something with that.
I like it.
Just replace global bonds and chemistry with a new tagline.
I also want a screenshot of him going like this to the mic.
Another interesting thing was this week, Ben and I were at a trade show, and we met with a guy who was trying to source face masks from here to send to China.
Yeah, I meant to mention that in the office meeting.
There's an extreme shortage of face masks,
yeah.
He's unable to source them in the U.S. and looking elsewhere right now. But it was kind of interesting.
And also, there's a shortage of hospital beds.
Wow.
Well,
She sent some TDI over there.
yeah, this is the time.
Wow.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Wonder if we can source some face masks, add that to our product offering.
Yeah,
Chemical/face mask distributor.
chemical composites.
Why
and face
not? We'll
masks.
sell it.
Events, trade shows, conferences, fully in. Seems like one of the two busy seasons. I think the spring and the fall are definitely two of the busier times for trade shows. As AJ mentioned, we just had two last week. We were at the World of Concrete show and the International Roofing Expo, but a couple more coming up in the next 6 to 8 weeks here.
So next week we'll be exhibiting at the Specialty and Custom Chemicals America show. They need to shorten that down a little bit. I think that's a mouthful, but that's in Fort Worth, Texas. This will be our second year exhibiting. I think this is the second year for them having that show in Fort Worth. But we'll have a contingent. Ben and I will be there with Corey, Steve Friedewald, and Sean Harrington. So
I think I
setting
saw
up meetings and
attendance is up like 30% at this point too, which should be a good show.
wow, I didn't hear that, but that's really good.
This is one of the shows that keeps growing and growing in attendance, right?
Yep.
That's good.
Maybe instead of balls, you can give out face masks at that show.
There we go.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
With
no.
TCC across the front. I like that. I like that.
I'm gonna make a note here.
It'll be delivered to the show Monday morning.
Overnight for the watch.
And then the next one after the Fort Worth show is we'll be attending the NACD Southern Regional meeting. That's later in February, the 24th through the 26th. And where does that one?
It's in Savannah, Georgia. this
Beautiful
year.
Savannah, Georgia. Corey Mullins and Ray Altenberger will be leading the charge at that meeting. The AMI PVC Formulators Conference is the next one up. That's in March 24th to the 25th, and that's in Cleveland.
It's in Cleveland.
It's in Cleveland, Ohio.
Yep.
We'll be there, Ben, and I think you and Joe DeVersa.
Joe DeVersa, possibly Ken Blanchard. So we'll have a couple people down at that one.
Yeah, that's more of a technical conference, right, for the PVC compounders and plastisol folks.
Yeah, one of our big supplier producing partners, Perstorp, will be there. They're doing a big presentation on their new product, Pevelin. So we'll be there supporting them on that one. So if anyone's going down to that one, be happy to set up some time down there.
And then our big one for the year is AFPM. That's in New Orleans this year, and pretty much everybody will be there from TCC. And our schedules are filling up pretty quickly. So if anybody wants to get a hold of us, just let us know. We're doing a cocktail party on the Saturday. So if you do get in early enough, you're welcome to join us for some good food and drink before the craziness that ensues, which is AFPM. And then after that, American Coating Show. We'll be up in Indianapolis. It's the same week as AFPM. They overlap a little bit, but I'll have a big group of people at both. So looking forward to seeing everybody.
Yeah, busy time of year, and that's just through March. I think we got a bunch more in April and May, so we'll talk about those when we get there. But definitely a big trade show season. So hopefully we'll see some of you guys out there. Starting with the show next week down in Fort Worth. Wrapping things up, any other news? I know we're happy to welcome Michaela back.
Yep, Michaela had leave for her, raising her child for the first 3 months, and welcome Michaela back into finance. So that's great news. It's great to have her back. Jill in the office bought a house last week, and so that's exciting. And then Zach over at Kettle Bottom, I understand, he bought a house this week too. So lots of exciting news. And then Michaela's son's name is Nolan. So the TCC family is growing, and all's good. So it's great to see our people have success in life and buying houses and having kids and doing well. It's a big point of pride for my father and I when these things happen. That we're able to be there and support it.
Want to give us that quote one more time to wrap things up?
Oh, the most expensive. What is it? Wait, I forgot.
The most expensive product is the one you don't have.
Yeah, that's it.
As always, we appreciate you watching or listening, however you're streaming the podcast. The info of the podcast, the audio, the video is all available on thechemco.com/podcast, as well as all our social media channels, emails. Keep an eye out. Hopefully you've been following along for a little while. If this is your first episode, we appreciate you listening. Looking forward to continue to bring information to you guys. Thank you to the Kettle Bottom creative guys, as always, for the video and the production.
Do excellent work. Yep.
Yes, absolutely. And we will catch you next time. Thanks, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you.